While he was sleeping, ants swarmed the inside of this can, so he had to carry it down from his tent with a stick. He had the stick in the can, and the can so far out in front of him, you would think there was a venomous snake inside of it. We were getting started early to take advantage of the smoother water before all the towboats come and chop it up with waves, and the cooler temperatures before the sun really gets high in the sky and starts burning everything. It's also a chance to see the wildlife that comes out that time of day. Actually, when we get up early enough, there are still mosquitoes outside of the tent, but as the sun comes up, they look for shade for the whole day. They come back out when the sun goes down, but by that time we're back in our tents. So for now, us and the mosquitoes are on rotating shifts. The towboats are the only thing keeping us from operating at night. If we went at night, the temperature would be cool for the entire time we were paddling. But they throw off all kinds of dangerous turbulent waters, even when you're far away from them, and some of them operate without lights at night. The others have long-range, movable searchlights, and when one of those hits your tent, it lights up on the inside of it, and you feel like the police helicopter's after you. This is the first time we've seen this type of fish dead. It's called a gar. It's rather large and has a sort of bill or a snout for a mouth. I didn't get a chance to fully capture it, but there was another fish that had a slice in the side of it. Our best guess is that it was the screw or propeller of a boat's engine that cut up the fish. I was so tired that when we took our mid-morning break, only about 15 minutes, I fell asleep. Moby woke me up and said we had to keep moving before the day got too hot. We took a longer break for lunch in the shade of some willows, and it was back to the big river. We hugged the outside of the shipping channel so that we can avoid the eddies and whirlpools that form along the edges of the waterway. Following a warning on the Army Corps of Engineer charts, we stayed as far away as we could from the two old river control structures and the hydroelectric dam. The water that flows through those 3 points is controlled. If not for that control, the Mississippi River would slowly be going further and further down the Atchafalaya River until that became the main drainage. But the group decided things should stay as they were and built the structures so that the Mississippi River wouldn't lose any more of its waters to the Atchafalaya. The area around the Atchafalaya, though, is the largest river basin swamp in the country. It's the way the waters of the Mississippi wanted to go, but they were stopped by a wall. So it's the way we are going to go, and tomorrow we're going to go through that wall. Because the Atchafalaya intake is not a navigable water, we'll pass through the Old River Lock, paddle upstream to where the Old River flows off of the Atchafalaya River, and then take the Atchafalaya downstream south the rest of the way to the Gulf of Mexico. This afternoon, as we paddle through the blistering heat, that is the movement we were setting ourselves up to do. To move through the lock, paddle upstream, and then start the Atchafalaya first thing tomorrow morning. It means that today, although it's not very different from the day before, the day before that, it is our last day on the Mississippi River proper. Clear, cold water, fields of cattails, underwater wild rice, and floating island bogs made up the headwaters of the Mississippi River. That was part one. It ended at Minneapolis. From there, we worked our way through a series of flooded locks and dams all the way down to Cairo, Illinois to complete the upper Mississippi River. That was the end of part 2. Part 3 of this journey ended tonight when we put our stakes in the ground on the banks of the lower Mississippi River for the last time. We made our camp on hard-packed silt and sand, burned a cooking fire with driftwood, and boiled pasta to flavor with pepperoni and sauce. We shared the camp with only the towboat traffic and these low-flying birds who go after insects. It's funny because when one catches one, instead of the others trying to catch the same out of the same swarm, they go after the one who caught the insect. It's that kind of peer sabotaging behavior that's often contributed to Russians in jokes about Russians. My favorite goes that the devil is giving a man a tour of hell. He shows him one chamber with many guards on it, and the man asks why, and he says it's the Americans. They keep inventing new ways to try and escape. Other chambers had a proportionate amount of demons guarding their prisoners, until the devil reached one chamber with no guards at all. The man asked, and the devil said, "Oh, these are the Russians. We don't have to worry about them escaping. Every time one tries, the others pull him back in." But really, that has nothing to do with anything, and I spent the evening enjoying the last camp we would have in the lower Mississippi River. I put the drone up to look at it one more time.